Hello and welcome back to Central Portugal. I'm here visiting family and I'm here for roughly 2 weeks or thereabouts. But I'm doing one of my early morning strolls, and it's one I do before the rest of the family get up. Quite simply because when it gets up to about 40, you do not really want to be doing too much in the way of strenuous exercise or exerting yourself. It's just absolutely a sweat box by that point. And indeed, the locals know this, so you always do what the locals do. And they tend to seek a little bit of shade, a little bit of an area to get away from the sun. And during the worst parts of the day, when it's at its hottest, there is a sense of calm and a sense of relaxation that takes over here in Central Portugal. But I'm on the fire roads, or what I'm calling fire roads, but they're really their agricultural dirt tracks to properties and land. So I'm having a nice gentle stroll through this trackway, and it will take me through some nice countryside, and I'll end up coming into a small central Portuguese village. And yeah, I really enjoy doing this one, and I do this one well every day, in amongst other trackways as well. That's if I've got nothing that I'm doing myself, like going up into the mountains or walking around lakes and doing things the rest of my family can't do. But I always make sure I get out and do this at least, because I just love the atmosphere, and because it's so different than home, you know, you might as well just experience it. And this is kind of the typical lane I'm going to be walking on. You can just see the sun starting to come up over the horizon, and it's going to be a hot one. Well, that early morning sun, once you get exposed to it, you can feel the heat of it already, but I'm sheltered by a nice embankment here as I walk along this cool morning lane, and I'm loving the sights and the smells. There is fruit in the trees, and yeah, I'm really enjoying being out, getting some exercise and stretching my legs out. I didn't do any filming of the travelling here, and I had a couple days where I just didn't pick up a camera. I'm pretty much like that. As a YouTuber, I guess I'm never really going to cut it. But even so, I have to say a massive thank you. There's 4,000 subscribers on this channel now, and I'm not taking that for granted, because my channel is a little bit like the tides of the sea. It goes up and down quite drastically, and that can be from video to video or even day to day. So, you know, it's no small feat, and a big thank you to you guys for, you know, sticking with me and watching some of my videos. Just an old, well, 55-year-old Cornish or Scottish Cornishman ambling around the Cornish country lanes, doing his thing, and taking along on a little bit of what my family do, and just videoing it. So yeah, I'm so thankful for you guys for sticking with me, because everything I do is pretty much at an amateur level. But yeah, thanks very much you guys for subscribing, and to everybody else who watches, because I'm not that fully in tune with how YouTube works, but I have been made aware subscribers ain't the full true number. There is another number of people that watch and don't subscribe, which is fine. I'm probably one of those myself. I'm very nomadic in my viewing. I might be watching a cooking show one day, then I might be watching somebody climb Mount Everest, then I'm watching somebody do motorbike racing on the Isle of TT. So I understand exactly what it's like. So I'm actually doing a little bit of a climb. It's nothing strenuous. Dogs barking in the background. That's what you get with Central Portugal. And when I get a bit more of height, I'll let you have a look You can just see the mountains in the distance. And that's why I want to complete this walk before it gets too hot. You can see that sun is burning. Oh, if I come down here, I'll zoom you right. Can I get you more? No, I don't think I can. I was going to try and show you the mountains in the distance. You can just see the shadow of the mountains over there, and that's that slightly dark band straight down from the sky before you hit the scrubland that's in front of me. But I'm on quite a bit of zoom, but yeah, you can just make them out. Right, I'm going to get into the meat of this video basically, and I put a very small video out, the one previous to this, and it was discussing basically civil unrest and bugging out in the UK, that type of thing, and the reality for me as a family man, and how it pretty much would be a big mission to make that happen if there ever was a call to do it. And it did seem to gain, for my channel, a bit of traction, and it really surprised me. And I don't usually get a lot of comments. I got more than my usual amount, and I realised this was, you know, not just something that I've stumbled upon and took a minor interest myself. I realised there's a lot of guys, or a lot of people out there, that have given this some thought in this present, well, our present situation in the UK. Right, I've made it over the rise of that hill. I'm just walking down this bit of track. I've got some Estrella mountain dogs behind me guarding the property. When you walk past, they always do their job. Traditionally, they were in the mountains to guard the cattle from wolves. And I've said it on previous videos out here, the Iberian wolf is actually back in central Portugal. Now, on the back of that video, it became plainly obvious, and by people who are probably, I would say, more knowledgeable than I'll ever be in this particular subject, that bugging out probably was not going to be a reality for most of us in the UK. The island is too small, and the population, which you cannot dress it up, the population size is, well, I think we are, if you break the figures down, one of the most densely populated pieces of land mass. Not the most, but we're definitely up there in that leaderboard. So yes, we're definitely in no position to be bugging out to the hills, because you can bet your bottom dollar every spot that you want to like pitch up a camp, or, you know, get into a little hidey hole, somebody's either going to be there or somebody's making their way to it as well. Now, this trackway is usually quite overgrown on this particular piece, but it looks like the road has had some maintenance. So it makes me wonder if one of the little properties down here I daydream about is actually been purchased and somebody's maintaining the track now. Have to wait and see. No, I was wrong. The track I'm actually using hasn't been maintained. It's still in its present condition. The bit that was maintained went to a more developed property. So, yeah, make my way down. It's stunning out here, absolutely stunning. Now, there was two comments that really, well, three really, that struck me. One basically suggesting, which is, you know, correct, most of us, you know, and I would even put a lot of outdoor people, don't have the skill set to survive long term if they had to bug out. So staying in your own home would probably be the best bet in any case, and I think that was the overarching theme. You've got one comment which suggested they had a boat, so obviously they would be taking full advantage of that and leaving the sinking ship, which would be the UK. And you know, that's something I've never even considered as an option myself. Now, there was one comment suggesting that it's possibly a certain group of media outlets, possibly a certain cohort of people with a political stance that might subscribe to the UK going into decline, and possibly the civil unrest bit. And that got me thinking, was there any substance to that? Because the best thing you can do as an individual in your own head is to actually assess all the arguments. Don't dismiss things straight off the bat. If you can actually hold a debate in your own head and weigh up what you know and what's been said, and possibly some facts, you're probably better placed to come to your own conclusions doing that, rather than just sticking to a firm and resolute conclusion, you know, based around just, well, limited information. Now, this shaded water hole, I can't work out what it is causing all the ripples, whether it's fish coming to the surface, whether it's, you know, terrapins or turtles, I'm not sure. Even if it's insects, I can't see what's causing those ripples. It's something touching the surface. It's not actually air bubbles coming up. There was sheep here just a minute ago with bells round their neck. Now, I always come down this bit of the lane, stare at this little bit of property. It's totally going to rack and ruin, as you can see. But you can see the rows of vines, all the fruit trees in and around here. Indeed, I've got an olive tree right in front of me here. But, oh, and there's a well there. I've said it, you know, every time I pass here, my imagination runs riot what I'd do with it if I owned it. There's grapes everywhere in the hedge coming out onto the path. This fig tree is producing quite a few figs. There's blackberries in amongst it as well. Loads of figs. It's been a long time since somebody's worked this plot of land in there. And that sun's getting up. I can actually feel my back just beginning to get warm. I've got the very first little trickle of sweat running down my back. This property was for sale, actually. Don't know if it still is. But the trackway is, well, as you can see, it's not motor vehicle friendly. I can't tell if that's an apple or a pear. The tree itself does look like it needs water anyway. It looks like the winter storms has took out this part of the embankment, and a little shed just there for somebody else's plot of land behind. Must have been a lot of water at one point. There is a gully down there with drainage. Right, let's get up here and continue talking. Beginning to get blue skies now. So that means I've got to start hustling if I want to stay cool. So just by posting that video, I have concluded that I'm probably not qualified to really get into full discussions about the scenario of civil unrest, and could it happen or could it not happen? That isn't me copping out. Quite simply, I do have my own view, the same as you guys, but it's one of those topics that you really have to back it up with a lot more evidence than hearsay, thought and feeling. But what I am qualified to say is, or what I am qualified to talk about is Britain actually broken, or is Britain in decline? Now, you're probably thinking, what makes me feel unqualified? Well, I'm 55. You know, I've bought a house, I've had a mortgage, you know, I've done the hard 9 yards or miles, as they say, with a young family, low income. So, yeah, I know what was, and I know what is, and I can see with what's coming around the corner. Now, I watched a video by a very intelligent, professional gentleman. I do watch a lot of his content, quite simply because he can be informative, but he has, like all of us, a persuasion one way or another, and that evidently comes through in his yeah, let's call it work. I mean, some people call YouTube work. I don't think I'll ever be one of those, but yeah, I watched a lot of his content, and he was countering the argument that Britain is broken, basically kind of insinuating it was a narrative created and it suits a certain agenda. Now, he did put a little bit of an argument for, you know, for and against. He's very good at doing that, but the overarching theme was that it was basically a constructive narrative that Britain is in decline. And the examples he used were pretty, well, apples and pears, as they say, or apples and oranges, not really the same thing. But yeah, it left me wondering in my own head, like I've just told you. I started analysing my own thoughts on this. And as I've said, flies, insects are getting up. The one thing I am qualified to say is, and it's not just me being a grumpy 55-year-old guy who's got the weight of the world on my shoulders, the UK, from, to coin a modern term, lived experience, is in decline. It doesn't feel the place it once was. And that's not just feelings for feeling's sake. You open your front door, you see it, you hear it, you smell it. It's there everywhere you go. It's in your wage packet, it's in your utilities bills, it's the streets, it's the countryside. Everything is changing and not for the marked better. And I would hazard a guess, a lot of people that have probably been in my position in life, and I'm an ordinary guy, and if you're an ordinary woman, you may probably testify you have more claim to decide whether it is broken or not, because let's face it, most women do run the household, bring kids up, they're paying the bills. The guy may be going to work, but they probably see it more so. But yeah, I think anybody from the ordinary sphere of the working classes and lower middle classes will probably state that, yeah, broken Britain, or Britain in decline, is a real thing. It's not just a figment of our imaginations. The shade of the trees is extremely welcome at this point, because I'm over halfway. I'm on the higher part of the trackway that I'm using. I'll be coming down into the village in a moment. But like I said, I want to get this done before it gets too hot. I want to go and sit and have a cup of coffee, piece of toast, and think about what we're going to do as a family. So, the actual gentleman in question is a bit of a minor celebrity. He's been on TV. He's done the rounds, I think, in that regards. Oh, dogs in the distance. I wondered what that was. Well educated. Yeah, his viewpoints mirror what I've encountered through the education system myself, going through it as a kid. Because yes, even at 55 I did have to go to school at one point, and I've raised 5 children. So yeah, I obviously I'm fully aware over a big span of time. I mean, I've got young kids now and I'm 55, so I've got a huge time range that I've encountered and been in and around the education system. And yeah, his views seem consistent with what I've come across. So is Broken Britain, or you know, Britain in decline, those terms coined as part of a narrative, and people like the gentleman I've been talking about, who's very educated and been in and around the education system, possibly suggesting that it's a narrative to gain political or social, I don't know, one-upmanship. Is it actually a thing? Or is somebody like myself, what I'm seeing, hearing, feeling and actually living, real? And that's the thing. And I guess you guys out there can probably relate to what I'm saying, or most of you, because to me it's definitely not an abstract, constructed idea that's kind of worked its way into my head because it's been fed there by somebody or some organisation. It's definitely how I'm living at the moment. And Broken Britain, it does actually fit everything about how I'm feeling and living my life in the UK at the moment. Right, just coming off the tracks, coming down into the village. I'll get some shade from the houses now, which is something which is welcome now, because the sun is getting quite strong. Not a cloud in the sky today. There was a few yesterday. So it's not just the UK. Here in Portugal itself, they're becoming more socially, politically and economically aware that things are changing, and that's replicated through society, attitudes and what's happening here politically as well. And I'm not going to go too much into that, but you know, it's not just the UK. And it leads me on to think, is it that same thing where the elites and the well-educated are trying to push a narrative that that the rest of us don't really understand what we're talking about, and what we're thinking and feeling is just a made-up concept, like I was saying. And that makes you think then. That really does make you think, doesn't it? Because you start to think to yourself, these people are so out of touch with people like myself and anybody else in my position, or a large majority of society. As you can see, these little narrow streets offer a lot of shade and protection from the sun. And the cobble street feels nice underfoot. There is some real old kind of stonework over there, down that alleyway. What I do like here in the morning is the culture of the old guys just hanging about, chatting, and they sit at little cafes on the chairs, talking, watching the world go by. The old ladies are out sweeping their steps, yes, sweeping their steps, doing their daily chores, and then obviously going to the shops with their handbags and bags, buying whatever they need for the day. And that old world vibe is romantic, but it does make you feel like a sense of longing and loss for it in the UK, because at one point, I'm guessing, perhaps not the cafes culture and things like that, but there is something missing. And when you're told that it's all imaginary or could be imaginary, you realise that a lot of things have gone adrift with the UK. So this video was basically just me rounding up my thoughts and feelings on Broken Britain and the UK. And ironically, I'm in central Portugal, but there is things pretty similar bubbling under the surface here as well. But I'm probably not going to do too many more of these type of videos, because I want to get back to my usual outdoor content, and I'll take you on some hikes and walks that I do here. But I just wanted to clear that up, and because I actually did see that video, and you'll start thinking, is it actually a made-up concept? I just wanted to explore it in my own head. Me personally, I've come out the other side of thinking about it, and I'm more resolute in my belief that Britain is broken, and you know, I stand by that statement, regardless of some, you know, people that may consider themselves, you know, intellectually, you know, better than me, because I'm just an ordinary low educated, low skilled, low paid working man all my life. But I still stand by my statement. There's something very wrong in the UK and Britain. The decline is marked, you can see it everywhere, and I'm not alone. I'm guessing many of you see that and feel it as well. So I'm going to continue walking back this road, go get some breakfast, and my next video will be less of my thoughts on this subject, more back to the outdoor sort of stuff, hiking and walking. I'll bring you along on some nice walks here. So take care, stay safe, and I hope to catch you guys out on the trail.